training center, right, in Oliver Springs?
Yes, it's Oliver Springs. It's the old Tri-County shopping mall. It's 36,000 square foot under roof. It's got 9,000 square foot of turf, 8,500 square foot of weight room area, full-size basketball court, locker room, showers. It's everything we could put under one roof.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow, I saw some pictures of it before the show you were showing me, and it looks really nice.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. We started this January 2 years ago with a demo. It's been about a 2.5 year process acquiring the property and everything. So it's come a long ways and it's starting to come together. We look to open shortly after the first of the year. There's still a few things that we're waiting on, but everything should come together.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking with Terry Hill and Vontae Henderson, and y'all with the next level of performance there in the Tri-County Shopping Center, the church there now, I think. Beach Park there on one end, so y'all be on the opposite end, I guess.
Well, we're just outside of the center. You still got the baseball training next to us, and then DPI is all the way down on the end. So we're close to the center of the mall there.
Mm-hmm. So there's what kind of center? A baseball center?
Yes, there's a baseball training center.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
There also as well. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Walter?
How did you come about doing this? And I guess the one thing comes to mind is, are you trying to get every sort of athlete and in their training, and say you've got a basketball court in there, and just tell me how that whole concept came about.
Well, we knew, being Oliver Springs, we couldn't just focus on one sport, or even being Oak Ridge. So with acquiring the 36,000 square foot and the space, made it available to put the multiple sports under one roof, and then the strength training, and but it was us traveling as parents to Knoxville to try to find training for our student athletes in this area, and it's just tough of the evenings. So it's not a Oliver Springs thing by no means. It's in Anderson County, but it's got to be a regional thing to be able to support that size of facility. So, got anything on that?
Yeah, well, I came from Nashville, so one of the conversation, word of mouth, travel. I was actually pursuing an opportunity to come back and help develop athletes. Mainly it was coming back to Oak Ridge High School to coach football, and once again Coach Gaddis let me know that there was some guys around the area that were interested in kind of doing the same thing that I was doing in Middle Tennessee in promoting high school athletes. So he asked me would I be willing to speak to one of the guys. I told him, yeah, conversation ain't never hurt no one. And next thing you know, about 8 months, I was relocating from Middle Tennessee back home. So the way I got brought in, I have a lot of notoriety in Middle Tennessee for what I call developing the high school athlete. The one thing that I think I brought to the table was I had actually gone through the process of seeing a young athlete, working with a young athlete, and actually watching that athlete develop over the course of 2 to 3 years. And in doing so, I was fortunate enough at the time to, I've had my hand in helping a numerous amount of kids reach 4-year scholarship opportunities. So that helped, as well as, like I said, sitting down with Terry and kind of getting his understanding and his direction. And it's more or less two strangers with the same common goal of there's a need for this type facility in East Tennessee.
I'm going to say, You say you was back home. Now you go to Oak Ridge High School.
I did not go to Oak Ridge High School. I was born in Oak Ridge, stayed here till I was about 8, 9 years old, and then I moved to Middle Tennessee. I went through most of my educational years in Middle Tennessee, and I was a graduate of Overton High School, played football at Middle Tennessee. So just through my own process of growing up, being a single parent kid, understanding the training, also being close to that Brentwood line where a lot of kids in that area had that consistent training regimen where I didn't have that. I knew the importance of it. So from the time that I graduated from college, I instantly knew the difference between these type facilities and a kid who's just naturally athletic, who only plays from sport to sport, as opposed to training, on his skill set.
What about you, Terry? You grew up around here.
I grew up in Auburn Springs, graduated from Auburn Springs High School. Got into coaching youth football. It's what my kids wanted to do, and from there I've coached football every year. I've coached youth, middle school, high school. Helped out at Clinton for a year. Coached all-star teams. It's my hobby, so I'll go to Savannah this year and coach a senior team, and it's what I do.
Did you play at Oliver Springs, I guess, football and different sports?
By the time I got to high school, I didn't play no football. I played all the way up till high school.
So this is something you're doing on the side right now? I mean,
I work at ORNL.
Okay.
So it's always been my hobby. However long I continue to work at ORNL, we'll see.
How about you, Vontae?
I actually work at Oak Ridge High School. I plan to transition and it'll be full time for me. But he does it full time as well. When he leave ORNL, he's up there. He's working. He's always doing something. So yeah, it's a full time thing, because even when you get the work done, your mind goes towards processing what you can do the next day, what you got to do the next day. As athletes start to come in the building, it's a perfect blend of parenting, coaching, and building a team. Even though these kids are coming in for training, you still got to have a game plan like you would if you was coaching any sport Monday through Friday. Then you also got to be the parent when they in there, because now you get to dealing with weights, and you got to make sure that they always are in good position where there's no freakish injuries or things like that. So those are kind of the things that you don't think about when you think about training facility, the behind the scenes, the thought process that really goes into making that system move day in and day out. And then also you're selling a business, so at the end of the day, you got to be a salesman. You can be the best trainer on this side of the Mississippi, but at the end of the day, if you can't make your skill set as a trainer resonate with that kid or that family, it really does no good. So it's a lot that will go into it outside of just the building that people see. You got to have a good understanding of educating those guys and the parents as to why that training regimen is needed.
Exactly. And did you coach under Coach Joe Gaddis?
Yeah, I did. I was up under Coach Joe Gaddis. Yeah.
How many years was with Coach Gaddis?
I feel like a lifetime. I was only fortunate enough to get one. We tried, I want to say we tried when he first came back to Oak Ridge. I was at Cane Ridge High School, and it didn't work out at that time. And then I think we may have tried briefly again, maybe 3 years after he was here the second time. But I was fortunate enough growing up. I was always close to the program and in a vicinity where I could see the program through the 90s. I came back home often and didn't miss many football moments. So it was never, I never felt like I was gone from Oak Ridge probably until I got to college.
Y'all going to be like co-owners of this? Terry?
There's 4 partners in this, and Bonse will run it on a day-to-day basis with as much help as he needs.
I'll put y'all to work if you want.
So
Walter's retired, he might be able to.
Ain't no such thing as retired.
That's exactly right.
we
I
got
still work
some-
for my son quite a bit. So.
Got some good people involved. Jermaine Copeland. He played ball at Harriman, then played at UT, and then had a good career in Canada. Sean Green with Priority One's going to do the basketball. We've got a female strength coach, Abigail Darty. So we've got a good team to start with, and I know that team's going to grow. But we'll control the growth and make it a good quality place.
That's one of my questions I was going to ask you, like, the qualifications of the staff. And you mentioned Jermaine Copeland. Will he be part of the staff, I guess, working with the athletes? No doubt, I guess.
Yes, he will. He actually got a call to go back to Calgary and coach, so we're working through that right now. But he plans on being a part of next level performance.
Now, where's the Calvary?
Calgary, it's in Canada.
Calgary,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
Calgary. Wow,
Yeah.
he's up there with the Stampeders.
Yeah, it's probably not raining up there. It's probably snowing.
Yeah,
I'm
a
sure
lot
they,
of that.
Sure, they got a blizzard up there going on right now. So phone lines are open. If you have a question or comment for these gentlemen, you see the number there on the screen. Coming here tonight, talking about their next level performance training center, and it's going to be a remarkable thing. I know they have some of these in Knoxville, and this would be the first one that I know of, I think, in Anderson County. Is that correct?
As far as I know, it is. I mean, they
Yeah.
could be a small training facility when it comes to student athletes, but for this size, yes, it's the only one.
Okay, Walter?
One thing I wanted to know about, particularly the athletes that go from one sport to another, and I know you'll be fine-tuning that as time goes on, but say football to basketball to baseball, what sort of different work needs to be done as far as exercise, lifting weights a different way, or how does that concept work?
So for a kid, for instance, I'll start with the complex athlete. The complex athlete is the one who plays 3 sports.
Right.
What I see is a guy that, say we'll start with football, a guy that's a football player that's going directly into basketball. Our facility would serve him a purpose, obviously for football during the season, but it may be an opportunity for him to get in the gym and put up shots on Saturday morning, and work with our trainer so that way when he comes out of football season, he's not trying to make up for lost time. It also would be an opportunity for a kid to fine-tune areas that he don't necessarily have time to work on during practice. I've always said that your practice time is more for your scheme and understanding with your coaches, but you got to find time to work on your individual skill set for your team. So, for instance, say we have a kid come in and he say, "Hey, coach, I'm not getting off the ball like I know I can." By the time a kid goes to school, give you a full day's work and get out of practice, he don't have it in him, but a Saturday morning, he'll get up on his own, and that's what I've found to be true in training. A lot of times coaches ask, what's the difference between the training regimen and the practice regimen? Because as a coach, the coach side of me says if you practice hard, you don't need to train. You go home and rest. But that's just not the way that it is. Anytime a kid's desire for something, he's going to give a whole nother level of effort. As opposed to practice, they take time for granted, So I've come to find out also, when mama paying that money to get that extra training, there's a different level of expectation that comes. So the willingness to come in there and work and really set yourself apart changes when you put the training aspect to it, as opposed to, hey, you got practice Monday through Thursday. There's very few athletes I've seen that come through and they really take full advantage of practice. I mean, at the end of the day, for the most part, they're kids and they're going to be kids. But like I said, when mama cut a check, mama get a different demand than what their coach does, believe it or not.
Well, they're going to want the most out of their money.
Yeah.
No doubt. That's good stuff right there. And, right now, we're going to go and take our first break of the night. And give us a call. Have a question or comment with Terry Hill and Vontae Henderson of Next Level Performance, opening soon in January, I believe. If you got any questions for these guys, just give us a call. We'll be right back. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
That time of year again when we'd like to say thank you for letting OEB Law be a part of this great community. You've probably seen our commercials and our billboards throughout the year. We've had a blast making them. We also love giving back and serving this community through charitable events, sponsorships, and donations. More than likely, you know someone that's been injured that we've had the privilege of helping. We're so thankful for this community and proud to be a part of it. From all of us at OEB Law to all of you, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
A lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is it's safer than being tackled by a Tennessee Titan. Give it a shot. Find a free vaccine appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
I'm Amanda, one of the RN shift leaders at Rome Medical Center. I love the sense of community that we have here. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced, and that's why I choose Rome Medical Center.
I choose Rome Medical Center because this is where my heart is. My family and friends use Rome Medical Center, and I want everyone that comes through our doors to have an experience that makes them as proud of Rome Medical Center as I am.
Find out why Roan Medical Center is the best choice for your future in healthcare. Learn more at roanmedicalcenter.com.
Pat Ryan here with Kathy Mae Martin. If you're thinking of buying or selling real estate, then make the right play call and contact Kathy Mae Martin for all your real estate needs. Kathy's 30-plus years of knowledge and experience gives her clients the competitive edge. You know, like me on game day. Kick is up and it's good. Kathy Mae Martin for all your real estate needs.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is East Tennessee's best choice for pre-owned vehicle sales and service. Earl Duff is a name you know and trust, and we have been meeting the automotive needs of Roan and surrounding counties for over 49 years. Shopping with us is easy, and we treat our customers like family. From sales to finance to service, we're your one-stop shop for everything automotive. Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We buy it on the spot and we pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. Rome Metals, we treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Harriman and Rockwood.
Welcome back into the Locker Room Chat. And our guests tonight are Terry Hill and Vontae Henderson at Next Level Performance in Oliver Springs. The training center is going to be going into the Tri-County Shopping Center there. I think you opening up in January, right? Your plans, hopefully?
We're shooting for as quick as possible. I mean, if we could open up January 1st, we would, but that's not reality. So. Right. Shortly after the first of the year, we'll be opening up.
I know it's a process. I met you a few years ago, I think, at Clinton High School when you was coaching, and you was telling me about it then, and that's been almost 2 years, I guess, maybe. So it takes a while.
It's been a while. I mean, acquiring the property over 2 years ago, and then starting demo last January, or the January before, 2 years ago. So. And then with COVID hitting and the lack of materials, it's been a struggle, but we never let up. We kept pursuing forward. There've been hurdles to jump and gates to go under, and you just keep going. Persistence will win.
Now this training center, this going to be for student athletes, or is it going to be for us, anybody that maybe is not playing or just want to come in there and train, or is it mainly just geared towards athletes?
We done this thing geared towards student athletes. We know that student athletes go to school for 7 hours a day. We're going to open it up to adult memberships, but there will be a cap on it. So we can continue to offer this for student athletes. There's several things that we can do in that building. So whatever it takes to maintain and keep rolling. So
I know you've talked about football and basketball. Any other sports or weight training? Or I may have missed that. You might have talked about that first of the show, but let's go ahead and talk about what's going to offer.
We got 8,500 square foot of weight room area. So there's several plate load machines.
Wow.
There's a lot of free weights for the student athletes. There'll be 4 back cages on the front end. We'll be renting the back cages out to softball teams, baseball teams. So it'll be, as far as speed, agility, strength, football, basketball, baseball, softball. It's all under one roof. There's also we've got about a 900 square foot office for physical therapy inside the building. So, we're trying to connect all the dots there, make sure we can take care of who we're bringing in there.
Sounds really impressive. Walter?
Also, will you be renting out to individual schools to come into practice, because you've got such a big football field and a basketball court, and then you said the batting cage and that sort of thing? Will you be renting individual time for them to do that and coordinate something that so many can do that in a given day when there's real bad weather like there is like right here, and it's a sloppy situation for particularly baseball and football?
Well, I'll say in those, that'll be a case-by-case scenario. I think the biggest thing getting out, we want to make sure that we emphasize to the area schools and coaches that we're for the program. We want to build our brand, but we want to do it the right way. As I said earlier, I came from Middle Tennessee, where you see a lot of this type of training going on, but done wrong, it could step on some toes. We want to make sure that it's done right. We don't want to take any of the power away from the coach, that the kid sees a lot more than we see him. I mean, at the end of the day, we got to work hand in hand with each other. Me as a coach, I want my kids to get out and go get extra work, but I am very particular about who they work with, and that's just the world that we live in. Everybody wants a little bit of credit. I want our program more or less to be behind the scenes. I've always felt if you do right by the kid and you do right by the coaching staff that they're come from, you'll get your credit. It'll come. So when it comes to really partnershiping, I learned from an old ball coach in this area, the kids that we have, that say it's 20,000 kids in this area, the kids that we have are the kids that we have. So when they're at next level performance, they're not our kids. We're just utilizing them for that moment, just as if when they go back to their high school, they're not necessarily our high school kids. We got to do right by the kid and make sure that we're working with one another. So I think if we do that, we will open up the door and opportunity for a number of things to transpire in our building. I mean, I have a vision to run a coaching clinic out of there. We have visions to do ACT enrichment programs out of there. So even though it's a training facility,
excuse me, what is that? What'd you say?
ACT.
What is that?
It's the standardized test.
School. Okay.
To get them in school. So to me, when you think about the student athlete today, it's so much more than just being skilled in your specific sport. You have to be mentally prepared for the academic load that comes with it, being able to balance the weight room. I also understand that just because I go to the weight room, that doesn't exempt me from getting field work or putting up shots or going to the batting cage. So I think the more that we do that and the constant communication and production that comes out of that building hopefully will make coaches reach out to us just as much as we're reaching out to them. I wouldn't mind. Let's just say one of the area schools is late in the season and it's bad weather. If they can make use of 60 yards and we got opening, I don't see Terry minding. I don't see myself minding, because anytime we can get kids to walk through that facility, I feel like if we can get 30 kids to walk in, we should be able to recruit 3 to find a need as to why they need to be in that facility.
So it's probably geared more for individualized training.
I would say only for football. I think basketball-wise, because we have a full court, we could host a team practice. Now, we would never be in a situation where we're hosting a tournament or anything like that. I think for baseball, if it's simply working on hitting, yeah, they could get a full session in, but football is the only one that'll be hindered just based on the space. We have a 60-yard field, but we don't have the regulation width to be able to accommodate a full practice or a full team. But I've seen worse scenarios, and people make the best of it. So I'd never say never.
Right. It's it'd be a great facility. Just there's not a lot of high schools or around here has got an indoor training or indoor facility. It's be pretty cool for, like you say, maybe teams to utilize that or just individuals as well. But you mentioned you grew up in Middle Tennessee pretty much after you left Oak Ridge, and what's some of you worked for some training centers there? And
well, I actually trained myself. I trained for myself, but I did work with some guys who had what you call training programs. No one had a facility. So I was more predicated to just working with football. So the name of the game in Nashville is doing the same thing, but you do it at a local high school field. I don't have to do that anymore because we have a facility. So when I look at the intangibles of what made me successful in Nashville versus what can make me successful here, it's just doing right by people, giving them their money's worth. I'm big on giving them their money's worth. I've always said as a coach myself, if Johnny comes to the training facility and his grandmother drops him off, I'm gonna drop enough knowledge in the most simplistic form that she'll feel like she can go play football. So if I can put it that simple, but be that encouraging, I think I put out a good product. So that was one of the things that I focused on in Nashville. I'll tell you something. It's not a money grab overnight. This business is going to be sustained on being a good person, being trustworthy, and just really doing right by people. So one thing I do know, the people that we have in conjunction with Next Level, is about good people. It's not about trying to hustle families, because I got to think back to when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. My mom didn't have it, so if she did have it, it'd go a long way, getting the maximum potential out of whatever services I was seeking, in my development as an athlete. So just being here, a lot won't change as far as how I did it in Nashville, because I stayed true to who I was, and that's kind of going to be the format for what I instill in everybody that we hire and bring on. Just be good people, be good stewards of the game, and really pass on the knowledge, but don't mislead. One of the things I would really focus on is we would never, ever tell a kid who he is or who he ain't. We'll try to build them up and be truthful to them, but I don't believe in promising kids, because when you get to training kids really believe into what it is that you preach, So I never tell a kid he's a Division I player. All I want to do is put the work ethic in it, and we'll focus on the work ethic. And I always tell them, it's a higher power that'll control where you land. You just want to make sure when you land there, you're ready for whatever in front of you.
And our guests tonight, Vontae Henderson and Terry Hill of Next Level Performance. And Vontae, I know you just touched on some qualifications of the staff a few minutes ago there. Any other qualifications in the staff that you're looking for?
I'm looking for people that can work well with kids. I have younger kids that you really got to dummy it down to. To me, if you're a ball coach, one of the things I hate to hear high school coaches say is the type of system they run or what they have done for years. I believe good coaches adjust to what's in front of them, you know. So we may have a basketball kid that has a super sharp IQ that just flat out mentally get things that the average 16 or 17-year-old kid don't get. Well, it ain't hard to coach that guy or to push that guy because they naturally get it and it's at a advanced level. But what about the 12-year-old kid who's trying to figure himself out? You know, you got to be able to coach the 18-year-old phenom just like you would, you know, the 9 or 10-year-old kid who just do it for giggles and fun right now. You know, because like I said, at the end of the day, we can't turn anybody away. So that's the part where you got to be truthful and give a parent their money's worth. But then in the same sense, you got to make sure that you develop. If a kid come in that door, he should leave better than he came, whether or not he's executing mentally. If he can understand the why of what it is that we're teaching, then we've done our job for the day. At that point, now it's just like anything else. It's a process, and it takes time. You know, some kids will come in and grab it instantly. Some kids, it'll take 2 or 3 months. But if we can get that kid to understand the why and be good about our delivery, our message, it'll work.
Walter?
How will you all do your pricing on your different services? Will it be on a day, week, month, 2-month type deal, or have you gotten to that point as of yet?
We're going to bill everything to you.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you can get blood out of a turnip, but
that's in the works right now.
Right.
It's not finalized. You know, there'll be daily sessions and there'll be monthly memberships available, and then there'll be special events, whether it's a camp or a youth camp. You know, we're not setting an age group that we're going to work with, but you know, for the most part, we know we're probably from about a 5th grade through the collegiate level. But if we get that 4th grade that's focused and ready to train, by all means, you know, we want him under that roof.
Terry gonna coach him though.
And how many people you think you'll start out with as far as working there? You know, starting out.
As far as trainers and coaches, not maintaining the building,
Right.
we'll have 5.
Okay.
So,
What will be the typical group size you think of athletes
you know,
that you would work with?
that's got a lot to do with the group of athletes you're working with, and then the coach or the trainer, which everyone we've got is a coach. So I mean, we want our small group session. We're going to keep it, 6 to 8. But if we've got a good group and that trainer says, "Hey, man, this would work better if I had 10." A lot of people like the one-on-ones, and I've been on this end of it where I've paid for that for my son, but I also know that my son liked competing. So when there was a group there with him, he was always striving to be better than that one next to him. So it all depends on actual, whether it's strength, speed, agility, the knowledge, the athleticism of the group, and the coach.
I would add to that, it also depends on the parent. You know, if you have a kid, moms get dropped off, they may not necessarily want the one-on-one, but I may be a coach to say, hey, I can handle 20 in a group. Well, out of that 20, if I get a kid in there and mom thinks her kid didn't get the attention that he needed in the group, that may be a kid that we have to specify, hey, he goes in a group no larger than 10, you know, because mom's looking at the reps and the interaction. So I think all of those variables that Terry spoke on are true. We may have a good trainer who just, I mean, it's like teaching. You don't want to take a brand new teacher and give them a classroom of 40, you know, so it's one of those things that you have to gauge and just kind of get a feel for. But I will say I don't think we have any. I can see a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday morning of 20, depending on what the activity is, but I'm typically like Terry, I want something under 10, because I just think it's more fluid. You can really see more, and you can hold the kids accountable, and once again, sell that salesmanship to the parent that it's just not a money grab. When you get into the higher volume, it looks like now they're just grabbing my money. They're not really focusing on my kid, you know.
I guess you'll be able to see and observe the training space. It'll be visible if, say, parents want to come in and watch.
Yeah.
We've actually we've made it to where we're open to everybody that wants to see. It's glass all the way across the front. There will be a small setting area. It's not large, but there'll be standing space. But yeah, I mean, we want everybody to see what we're doing.
I really want I want moms, because moms are the ones that's really gonna sell your product. Dad will, but it's when you have a dad that's involved. I'm not saying it's hard to impress the dad, but moms are the one. Moms talk. They usually, you know, keep in contact with friends, and word of mouth travels a lot faster when the mom can back your package as far as what you're providing. But then the other thing I'm big on, I want the mom to be able to drop the kid off and actually watch and learn and understand. So to me, if Terry dropped his daughter off and he had no affiliation to the facility, I'm gonna tell him watch, because wherever you're spending your money, you should be able to pull something from it. You know, and people always ask me all the time, how do I know I got the right trainer? If you as a parent didn't learn anything, if they didn't make anything make sense, that you gotta think at the point that a kid wants training and you seek the training, you have been around the game long enough to have some understanding of it. So at that point, whether mom realizes it or not, she has become an athlete, you know, mentally. So if she can sit in there and now things that didn't make sense are starting to make sense in our facility, we're doing our job. And I think that's the big thing. So that's the way that we help promote without waiting on a commercial or waiting on a kid to have a bunch of success at the next level and give us our just dues. Our just dues can come every Saturday morning by moms simply getting a better understanding of the what and the why of their son's or daughter's particular sport.
Mama's not happy.
Nobody happy.
Well, so you said you played football at Middle Tennessee State. You play what positions you play?
Play receiver.
Play receiver.
Yeah,
okay.
play receiver.
What year were you at Middle?
2007 was my last year. I actually started out at Tennessee State. My coach was fired, and I reached out to some schools that had recruited me out of high school. Coach Stock told me, "Come on, we'll take you," and that was that on that. Went over there and played a little receiver and finished up. Came on out.
Did you play any professionally?
I played arena ball. Went down to New Orleans Voodoo at the time. I couldn't tell you the year. I know I'm getting old. Yeah, I couldn't tell you the year, but I went down to New Orleans Voodoo. I actually had a Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee connection. The guy that was over there football operations was Corey Fleming, and played at Tennessee, but also was from Middle Tennessee, played in Nashville, and got a hold of my film, and one conversation led to another, and there it was.
Did you play against Corey?
Nah, Corey a lot older than me. He a lot older.
Okay,
yeah.
Remember Andy Kelly? You're probably aware of him.
Yeah, Ray County guy.
He set a passed for a lot of yards in that arena league, I think.
Yeah,
and,
with the Nashville Cats. Yeah, yeah.
That's good right there.
Yeah, so I mean, one thing I can tell you, I've had the luxury being in Middle Tennessee. Growing up here and also splitting time in Middle Tennessee, I understand the need for this type of facility. But Middle Tennessee has also put me in close contact with some pros. I've seen NFL guys before they were NFL guys. I've seen NBA guys before they were NBA guys. So when it comes to understanding what that product looks like before it's the final product, I have a good understanding for that. You know, I may not necessarily be able to fix your jump shot as a basketball player, but I know how it's supposed to look. I know what drills does what. So if we have a trainer come in off the street that we don't know, and you say, hey, just give me a shot. I got a 14-year-old kid, and a lot of times he's gonna tell me, Dad, he a good trainer. Daddy's not. When kids can walk off confident, then you done something. You know, I learned from listening to Mike Tyson. Everybody outgrows, you know, their trainers. And it'll come a point where we may have a kid and say we get him at 12 years old. By the time he's 17, we may have taught him everything out of our facility that we can, and that's okay. That's our job. At that point, it'll be our time to say, hey, he's always welcome to do whatever it is he needs to do, but he's outgrown our facility. And that's my goal, is to make sure that we outgrow each other. I don't want to see anybody for 12 years. You know, I want to see you, but I don't want to see you in the case of coming to our facility day in and day out, repping the same exact weakness, because that means we ain't really done what we needed to do as a staff.
Well, you be doing anything having to do with soccer, volleyball, or golf, or is there any way you could do anything like that in your facility?
I would say with us having a basketball court, volleyball would be something that we can grow to. And I know volleyball is an up-and-coming thing here in East Tennessee, and that's one of those ways that you also make money. You know, a volleyball club team who is struggling to get in, because now it's gotten to a point where it's hard to rent high school facilities. It's not as easy as it was, you know, 10 years ago, where you just make a call to the local ball coach and say, hey, we need your gym or we need your field. Now it's a process to it, so that may be an opportunity to get people into our facility, not necessarily for training, but they come in by way of their team because they needed that space for that day, and then next thing you know, you have a parent saying, I didn't even know this existed down here. It works. Soccer is something that we spoke about in the beginning, you know, but once again, sometimes you can start off too big, and sometimes you can start off too small. I think with soccer, that's one of those things that you got to have the knowledge, and that's what I'm big on. Is I don't understand anything about soccer, you know, but if that trainer can explain to me the why, where I can understand it, like I try to explain it to that grandmother that brings that kid in, then we got ourselves a soccer trainer, and we have turf to be able to make that facility work for it, you know. So that's all a part of the process and the growth, you know.
Yeah, the boundaries are limitless, it seems like, and it's going to be a great opportunity for this area. I know that. So
much needed.
Much needed, yeah. So we're visiting with Terry Hill and Lance Henderson with Next Level Performance. And we're going to go ahead and take another break. We'll be right back. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
It's that time of year again when we like to say thank you for letting OEB Law be a part of this community. We love giving back and serving the community through charitable events, sponsorships, and donations. From all of us at OEB Law to all of you, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I choose Rome Medical Center because this is where my heart is. My family and friends use Rome Medical Center, and I want everyone that comes through our doors to have an experience that makes them as proud of Rome Medical Center as I am. I'm Nancy Easter, Manager of Materials at Rome Medical Center, and I'm so happy to work for an employer that values me and makes me feel appreciated.
Find out why Roane Medical Center is the best choice for your future in healthcare. Learn more at roanemedicalcenter.com.
There's a a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is it's safer than being tackled by a Tennessee Titan. Give it a shot. Find a free vaccine appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
On-Site Care, now located in Kingston, is accepting new patients. Nurse practitioner Candace Templeton has over 25 years of healthcare experience in offering management of chronic care conditions. On-Site Care offers free sports physicals for established patients. Plus, On-Site Care offers hormone replacement therapy with compounded pellets. On-Site Care accepts most major insurance plans and offers affordable self-pay options as well. Call 865-285-9588 to schedule an appointment at On-Site Care.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is East Tennessee's best choice for pre-owned vehicle sales and service. Earl Duff is a name you know and trust, and we have been meeting the automotive needs of Roane and surrounding counties for over 49 years. Shopping with us is easy, and we treat our customers like family. From sales to finance to service, we're your one-stop shop for everything automotive. Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
Roane Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation, Roane Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roane Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roane Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers, a member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roane Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
It's that time of year again when we like to say thank you for letting OEB Law be a part of this community. We love giving back and serving the community through charitable events, sponsorships, and donations. From all of us at OEB Law to all of you, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Welcome back in the locker room chat. We're visiting with Terry Hill and Bonse Henderson. Next Level Performance Training Center is going to be opening up in Oliver Springs in the Tri-County Shopping Center. And once you was talking about off the air that this is just not a Oak Ridge thing or Oliver Springs thing. It's going to be open throughout East Tennessee, correct?
Correct. We want to make sure that if there's talent that's available to get there, come. You know, I think that's the biggest thing. That was my whole mission in coming back to East Tennessee is when you look at the number of gold balls that come back in the championship form, it's a lot traditionally that comes back to East Tennessee in the various sports. But when you look at the correlation to kids going to college and sustaining that time in college, it don't really manifest like you would imagine, you know. And being in Middle Tennessee, I have seen my fair share of championships won, but the biggest thing is making sure that athlete makes it to school and understand the regiment that goes outside of the classroom. So I hope that our facility will kind of inspire and also give a realistic approach to what a student athlete really does. You know, a lot of times these kids are misled thinking that they can just go to practice and that's it. And then they get to college and realize I got class, I got practice, and then my coach is telling me I got to do these extra workouts. We are the extra workouts. So I feel like for the kid that can handle that load, we're only getting you prepared for what it is that you think you're dreaming of.
And Terry, do you know how these workouts are going to be programmed, or?
That'll be towards the athlete, and you know, as far as a strength program, we do have a strength coach that'll put together a program, and every kid or every student athlete will go through an evaluation period of what his needs are or what her needs are. So they'll, you know, as far as middle school, you could build a basic, you know, as far as fundamentally working out, you know, with the core and hips and everything, what a middle schooler needs. As they get on up in high school, it'll get sport specific and also, you know, that athlete specific.
What type of results are you looking for in these student athletes? Just see them improve. I guess that's why they're there, this training aspect. So.
Yeah, but now, you know, all we've talked about is athletic, and we want to see them out on the field, but, you know, the work that they've got to put in to come to our facility, you know, they're going to carry that with them. So, you know, it's the mental part and the physical part. And by all means, we want to see them not only be successful, but have a significance in, you know, in life down the road. You know, that's what it's about.
And chiming in on both of you guys, that's why it's going to be very important to have a relationship with the coach. So I guess this will help parents. The expectation from a kid walking in, we don't know him from the next kid. My first understanding is, why are you coming here? Once they explain to me their why, then I know how we can help them and how to guide them. But once that kid leaves the facility, I plan to have a regimen where we're going to reach out to that coach, because I also want to know, what does that coach see in you? So, you know, coaches are coaches. You got some that's going to shoot you straight, and you got some that's going to talk around it until they can trust you. But we have to make sure that our professionalism ensures that coach that, hey, you can shoot us straight. If Johnny is coming to us to play tight end, but you know his upside is as a offensive guard, we need to know that, because what we want to do is be a building block for where he's at. We don't want to create controversy. Well, this kid came to our facility seeking to play this. Yeah, we wasted 6 months getting him ready to play this position for him to become an issue or a cancer at his high school. You know, so I think everything works hand in hand. From, hey mom, what are you wanting out of this? Are you looking for something to babysit your kid, you know, while he in his downtime, or are you really trying to push him? Hey kid, are you trying to buy into your team's concept and truly become the best player you can be? Or are you chasing your own dream? And then when we follow up with that coach, hey, is Johnny really a good kid? Is he a good character? Like, when I speak on this, I'm speaking on the development of the overall athlete, not just the skill set or the physicality, but also the mental. And understanding the mental side of it will really help us develop the athlete. Because the crazy thing is, you have some kids that'll come to our program and they'll be good looking athletes. They'll move well, jump high, run fast. And we'll sit here as trainers and say, man, that coach at his school got to be pretty stubborn not to play that guy. And then we'll pick up the phone and call that coach. And that coach will tell us, hey, that kid don't go to class. That kid stay in trouble. That kid don't want to do anything the right way. And so though everything has to add up. So, I mean, when you really look at it, it'll be a mentorship. It'll be a strength and conditioning program. It'll also be a fellowship. Because one thing I do believe, like minds, they find each other some way, somehow, you know. So when you looking at, I was teasing Terry, we got the roll-up doors, and I want that place to smell so bad that parents struggle to sit in there. But the only way to make it smell bad is to put in the work, you know.
That's
so
true.
That's really the grand scheme. You know, I want it to be a sweatshop in a good way.
Walter?
You know, your training and conditioning and training physically and mentally with you and with the coach and their actual practice, I've always looked at it, you prepare in both those avenues, and it makes the ball game that you're in, it's just like it's a breeze,
You're
like
right.
it was actually a breeze.
You're right. So speaking on that, like I said, I got a 14-year-old son who a decent athlete, and as I've explained to him and many kids that I've trained before, there's never a time that you're gonna have dead weight laying on your chest as a football player. There's never gonna be a time that you have dead weight in your legs as a basketball player. So to me, if you go into a gym and actually commit to developing your body, it's also gonna develop your mind. Because it's hard, you gotta dig deep to come in there and your extra work is hard work. So if you can get through that, as I explained to my own kids, there should never be a time that an average kid, and what I mean by average is a kid that's just going to practice, there should never be a time that a kid that's just committing to practice should be able to stop you, because mentally you have prepared for so much more, you know. So he may be faster than you, but your mental is going to say, I got to figure out how to still defeat this guy even though he's faster. I got to figure out how to defeat, you know, even for a young lady, I got to defeat this girl who's 5 inches taller than me. But hopefully through the regimen that we provide, it creates that mental toughness. And that's one of my strongest beliefs is a lot of people think the weight room is about getting bigger. It's about health prevention, staying healthy, all right? And then the other part is the mental toughness, being tough enough that in the moment you could get it done, you know. And I think that's where I've seen the athletes that train really get that advantage, you know.
Right, and probably teach you a lot of life skills too, you know, and just like football does in any sport, you know, just training and going through the work and trying to get better, and a lot of demanding things like that can help you.
Yeah, you know, when Coach Hill walks in, I got to tell the kids, y'all got to grind. 'Cause this man grinded before the process even started. You know, if you would have saw where that building came from to where it is now, oh man, it took a grind. It took grind, it took a belief, and it took a lot of patience. And, you know, those are integral components when you talk about building that athlete. You know, it ain't going to happen overnight. It ain't going to happen just because you're giving us $1. You know, it's going to be a process.
Right. Well, guys, before you go, any last comments? We got a couple minutes left in the show. Terry, anything else you'd like to get out there for the people watching?
Well, we do have a website that we're fixing to launch. It's nextlevelperformancetn.com. There will be some, you know, it just says coming soon right now, but down the pike there'll be some dates put on there, and then the scheduling process. So the website's going to give a lot of information.
Avance, anything you'd like to add before we sign off?
They're going to work.
They're going to work?
They're going to work. Yeah, no, we just want to get your money's worth. They're going to work. I don't want to run anybody off. I think we'll have a good balance of understanding where that kid is.
Well, Walter?
Guys, I've enjoyed this. I've learned a lot more about your all's top facilities, and I'm all for the high school athlete going into college and the middle school into high school, and I appreciate what y'all are going to be doing.
Thank you.
Right, and it's been great having y'all on, and it's a great thing that y'all are doing for the student athletes, and wow, it's really exciting. I think a lot of coaches out there watching this show, I'm sure they're going to want their players to come and be trained, I would think. So but once again, I'd like to thank y'all for being here. And for Walter Stair, for Bonte Henderson, for Terry Hill, I'm John Williams, and sorry I can't get that call. We'll see you next week on the Locker Room Chat.